long way off with that long red.
There's no question that Sullivan is going to have to up his game. He knows that more than anybody. Great player he is, and what he's won. There's this worry that, you know, being 3-1 down, if you have another poor mini session here and you could go like 6-2 down leading into tonight, then the match is not so much over, but it's a mountain to climb. So he's going to have to make inroads now.
Yes, you'd think 2-2 would be the bare minimum for O'Sullivan to give himself a chance this evening. It ended up at 5-3 this time last year after session 1 to Trump. And O'Sullivan certainly put the pressure on in the second half of that final. Got back to 8-7, of course. But Trump held firm. Fantastic match. And there's still time for this one to live up to it. But O'Sullivan needs to find some new gears.
Well, that won't please either player all that much, the blue going safe. It's never particularly nice for that to happen. It changes the context of the frame a little. So, slight advantage on the safety. Trump, he's got Sullivan in a bit of trouble here. Thin edge of a red, the right hand red, tiny bit sticking out. Maybe, but he still missed it altogether.
Trump full. Back here.
This is one where it's got to be replaced spot on, which I'm sure it will. Marcel Eckhart was behind the line of the shot, but of course if it isn't in the right line, then there's either more or less of the red available than there was on the first effort.
Have a look, please. No? Why not? Alright, so you don't think it's right? Can you bring it up?
I think Marcel is only looking for a little bit of help here and assistance, but Ronnie says no.
Sure.
Well, to be honest, he has to play it from there now because he's shown no interest in any of the issues with replacement. Better second time. There he is, 10th major final. Marcel Eckhart, who did the world final. Good referee, strong, I think. Strong referee.
The only 2 half-centuries the final so far have come from Trump, 55 early in the second frame. And that really excellent response to effectively losing the third to a fluke. 69 for the 3-1 lead. This is O'Sullivan's 107th professional final. He's won 71 of them, 2 out of 3. And he'd take an awful lot of satisfaction from winning this one against the world #1. He said himself it's a test of where his game's at. But he's got a lot of work to do to make it happen.
Suggestion this was going to change after the mid-session interval and it was going to become more open. Already is gone. "15 reds on the table after coming up 7 minutes to play." So both players cancelling each other out a little bit.
Trump currently 5 out of 9 from long range, which for him is modest. Nothing wrong with that one though. Got into the cue ball maybe a bit more than he would have liked.
Judd. 1.
But even though it's only 1 point, it gives him the tactical advantage. If he wins this frame, of course, the worst he can be is level at the end of this first session, but he'd be in a position to go on to take a potentially unassailable lead.
He might just go that way, hitting the second cushion and laying on the red. He's looked at the situation from down there. He's not sure for it to go safe if he did play that way, but other options aren't all that promising. That was the problem with O'Sullivan's shot. He knew he could still leave a red, and it was a good shot at that speed from Trump. Really rifled this in. Must believe that he can't quite get to the pink to pot it, because I think he would have played it.
Rounder. Judd. 1.
No, he couldn't really, unless he nestled right in behind the yellow and the blue there. He was never going to trouble O'Sullivan all that much with that shot. Quite the final we expected, is it, so far? It's been not without incident, but frames have gone a little bit unexpectedly bogged down, maybe. Been lengthy, but there's reasons for that.
And I think in part indicative of just how desperately they both want to win. This rivalry is a very special one and has become more and more intense as the years have gone by. Trump has held sway more often than not recently, certainly in the big finals. He's desperate to get his nose in front of O'Sullivan in the overall head-to-head, and O'Sullivan, well, having won his 6th world title, and of course this is their first meeting since he did that in the summer, he would love to put one over on the world number 1. That's a good red.
Once again, it's a question of when the pink respots. Will it go anywhere?
7.
Not particularly. Don't know if it'll creep into the right corner past all those reds. I doubt it. A little look at something there. Actually, it would go to the left middle from where that red is now that he's about to play. Clearly it's not the easiest table to score on at this stage where the balls are placed.
O'Sullivan's average shot time currently a shade under 24 seconds. That's 5 seconds down on where he'd normally be, and it was a similar story yesterday in the first half of his match with Carter. At one stage it crept up to 26 seconds,
14.
which is pretty much unknown territory for O'Sullivan, but by the end of it, of course, with that 5-frame blitz, he was back to where he normally is. Everything's been a bit of a struggle so far today. Balls have been a bit awkward. Rhythm has been lacking. As Andy mentioned, his highest break so far, just 32.
Well, if you could get 45 or so here, that would feel like a lot. Maybe 50, where the balls are. Managed to get pink in the open, so he's working very hard at making this into something. Don't think you can argue about his commitment, to be quite honest. Trying very hard. At the moment, he's just trying to make things happen in his favour. He actually needs to dig in and get this frame on the board, or else this final is not starting in the way he would like. Desperately trying to make something here.
28. $35. 36.
Couple of areas in which you could get on the red. A bunch of 6 reds, left-hand red, and the red at the top on the right are the ones I think which are very potable, depending on the angle he's got here. Now it's got to move the red below it here, can't help it. Screw in and out of that little area.
43.
Took a risk there, didn't know a great deal about that. Just hit it in the end, I think.
43.
Landed in a position neither here nor there once again.
Oh, this is a big pot for O'Sullivan. Oh, you heard the reaction. He didn't get close, and having opened the reds up, only 37 in front, chance of a counter. It's been that kind of afternoon so far for O'Sullivan. Everything's been hard work.
Well, he took a risk on the red. Let the cube just freewheel around the table, but it did finish in a slightly awkward place where nothing was very easy, because he was just starting to show a little bit of promise there. Very hard-working break that was, only to tidy the table up for his opponent now, who's got a better chance. Balls, albeit not the blue ball, are very open now.
8. Nine.
This time, from colour to red is not an easy shot. Pink to the middle, maybe screw across to the right where he was just standing. But it can go wrong, this shot. Just. So again, the next red is far from easy. One of those frames, everything in this frame's had to be worked for.
Judd 23.
Ronnie quickly out of his chair, knowing that this is a second invitation to win the frame.
He's been using the rest a lot today, O'Sullivan. Three out of 4 so far. And now 3 out of 5, and there is another chance that's gone begging. These are costly misses for the world champion. Another shake of the head. It's just not happening for him so far, and it's got to start happening pretty quickly, otherwise this could get ugly.
1.
Black spot still covered. Bit of a surprise he ended up hitting the pink there.
8. No.
There is, of course, the issue of the blue on the side cushion for Trump to negotiate further down the line.
Yeah, I think both players are aware that this frame is still going to take a bit of winning, whatever happens at this point. Yellow there as well. Say the green looked around the houses, didn't it? Brown surely is easier. It's not an easy pot from where it's finished. That's the thing about Trump, he pots so many difficult balls, doesn't he, now? This break even. 14 break with about 3 or 4 good shots in it already. To pot another good one here. Yellow.
21. 23.
Still work to do, but if Trump won this frame, it would hurt O'Sullivan. The driving seat for the most part.
26.
Anything but straight, and he's got a chance of getting the blue in play here. It's fairly straight. Sullivan is pinning his hopes on the blue not being potted. Fabulous shot. That is a fabulous shot. It wasn't a natural.
Yeah, looks like being a frame winner. Sullivan with his best break of the final so far, 43, which kind of says it all, really.
Well, that felt a very decisive shot in the context of this match. Early days still, but a frame winner.
41 in the frame. Judd Trump.
Judd Trump clears to the pink, and the problems for Ronnie O'Sullivan deepen as Trump extends his lead by 4-1. The magnificent Waterford Crystal Alex Higgins trophy. Who will be holding it aloft this evening? Well, right now, it's a long way off for Ronnie O'Sullivan, who try as he might, and he is trying, make no mistake, for all he's worth, just cannot get anything going, missing with the rest again. He's done that twice today, but what a shot this was from Trump to release the awkward blue, which won in the frame, and extends his lead to 3. So the worst Trump can be now is honours even at the end of this session, but he'll be thinking, I can take a lead that not even O'Sullivan could claw back. 3 more to come. 9 the target. O'Sullivan's pot percentage success remains in the low 80s. Trump shade under 90 now. It's not been a fluent final in the way that the other two they've contested here in this event, albeit in Belfast rather than Milton Keynes have been, but Trump once again very much on top.
Yes, that last frame, the way he won it, that's typical of the way that he pots. Some of the shots he played there, extremely dangerous. And of the two players who have been a little watchful, tentative today, Trump is emerging as the more confident.
One.
Excellent long pot, good job it went in, but it never really looked like missing.
O'Sullivan has spent the lion's share of his fabulous career getting in front of his opponents and then bullying them, often steamrollering them. More recently, he's found himself having to play catch-up, and he's done it pretty effectively, not least against Selby in that wonderful Crucible semi-final when he seemed to be going out and then produced that furious three-frame burst to get the better of the 3 times world champion Selby, and of course went on to comfortably beat Kyron Wilson for his 6th world title. He needs that kind of inspiration now.
13. 14. 20. 21.
'Like the blue has to go on the green spot here. It's better that it's free because you wouldn't want it to go next to the pink,
26.
just below it. Got to interfere with both of those high-value colours.
27.
A little bit more positivity, I think, about the way he looks in this frame. I thought in the last frame, break he made a 43 was a very hard-worked one, but the frame went against him.
33. Foul.
That will make him enraged.
Sullivan.
It's a foul because he's already jumped over the ball, even though he hit a red in the end.
Yeah.
His frustrations compounded. His highest break remains just 43 in the previous frame. We saw him troubled by a few stray fibres in his victory over Ali Carter in the early stages, which he seemed to have fixed, but what a time to miscue just when it was looking like he could make his first substantial break of the final, get himself back in the picture. Wow. A reprieve though, straight away.
And of course the next thing you look at the tip to make sure it's still on the cue, or most of it's on there. Many a time a tip's been a chunk taken out of it after a miscue. Looks like O'Sullivan's was okay though. Well, it goes without saying that this frame has to be very important now for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's got to win it any way he can.
One.
There's been nothing wrong with his long game by and large today. 9 out of 11 is outstanding. 4 out of 5. It's just that more often than not, things have been awkward for him when he's been trying to construct a break, and then just when it looked as though he was putting that right, the miscue.
Contact made there. It's brushed against the red. Yeah, I mean, the session of snooker has been played with a great intensity, which has not quite been backed up with high scoring. But no one could doubt that these two have resolution here has been quite something. Just that something seems to have stopped them making the big break somewhere. Get days like that, the balls will run awkwardly. Something will come along and stop you potting balls. Trump won't mind at 4-1 up what's happening out there.
And what an effective shot he's played there, really opening things up, cranking up the pressure on O'Sullivan, who desperately needs this frame. If he loses it, he's bound to be behind. It's a question of by how much and whether the deficit in question would be retrievable tonight.
Very good shot that, but he's a little unfortunate that the red has gone in a potable position where Trump can knock these in. Thought he played quite a clever shot there, O'Sullivan. Just knocks in so many of those sort of shots, it's almost like they're hanging over the pocket.
Trump one.
And that 30-point lead may not count for much. O'Sullivan in trouble again.
The question here is which red would he most like to be able to lay up to? That's the red he'd quite like to hit, but now quite how he gets there. Oh, there you have it. Couldn't get to anything, just to roll up to it. And it may look reckless, but we saw it in that semi-final against Mark Selby. There's a little bit of more pragmatism in that than what you think. You might fluke one, you could knock ball safe, anything can happen. And what it has is eventually not cost him anything.
Hard to overestimate the significance of this frame. Big difference between 5-1 and 4-2. O'Sullivan could yet emerge with a share of the spoils in this session. Right now that feels unlikely, but if he can win this frame, it might just spring him into life, if he can win it. Could have done without that kiss on the red though, which has left the red on. Wow, Trump once again lets O'Sullivan off the hook.
We've got a chance to see the O'Sullivan escape, which is known in the trade as a hit and hope that he was doing.
Well, he's not been entirely secure with the rest so far. He's got 3 but missed 2. And he's missed another one, goodness me.
I'd be really annoyed about that one, Philip, because The frame is there at his mercy, and he's missing the first red.
One.
Well, at least from O'Sullivan's point of view, there are awkward reds here for Trump to negotiate as he looks to get back into this frame.
Black. Black one.
Now, when the black is respotted, does it cover the reds? If it does respot at all, that is. I think it'll go on there.
8.
Would have been on an easy pot anyway, but clearly not a thing available now. That red down the cushion. Frames have all gone the same way, haven't they? There's been no fluency. Incredibly hard-fought frames.
3 of them have lasted well over 20 minutes. There's a long way to travel in this one yet as Trump goes in off.
Sullivan 4.
Yes. It's been a bit of a grind, but crucially it's been Trump who's had the last word in 4 of the 5.
It's almost like they're trying a bit too hard. See, Judd, I'll say it again, has won 4 of the 5 frames. He doesn't mind how this is going. But it just feels like that. A couple of very important little clearances have been made by Trump, which is the difference between the two players. There's not a great deal else between them.
Sullivan had a clear chance just now, of course. Missed for the 3rd time this afternoon with the rest. Very uncharacteristic of him. Now he's got to do it all over again. Just 26 in front. Sullivan's strength today, amidst all of the frustration, has been his long game. He's only missed 2 in 11.
As one of those was the fluke, which counts as a pot, is it, on that green earlier?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's where stats sometimes tell lies, don't they?
But nothing fluky about that one. Superbly struck from O'Sullivan. Can he finally put this frame to bed? A frame he desperately needs. It was good enough to have another look.
It was a brilliant shot because he's doing all kinds of damage if this doesn't go in. He's leaving the red to the middle. He's got the red below the black there. Now, surely something else is not going to crop up for O'Sullivan here, not to win this frame. He's got to watch for the brown. It's underneath his, basically where he wanted to put his elbow, I think. His bridging hand is a little different, but after what's gone before, I think this is a must win the frame at this visit. No more frustrations. For the spectacle of the final, it's a frame that I think a lot of people would like O'Sullivan to win.
16.
If you're a neutral. Clearly, if you're
17.
Judd's camp, then you want him to win it easily. It looks like he might have done had this frame not gone O'Sullivan's way. Still got a bit of work to do. He needs another red.
It's been pretty typical of the frames we've seen to date. Hard going, but it's been won, by the looks of things, by a magnificent red. And could that be the moment of inspiration that O'Sullivan has been looking for? All things still possible in this session. O'Sullivan can yet emerge dead level. What a result that would be for him. Equally, Trump could be 4 clear. But at least O'Sullivan, barring snookers, has given himself the chance to stay in contention in this 3rd consecutive Northern Ireland Open final between the pair of them. Trump needs